Come on in, sit right down. Keep your hands up and keep your chin down. Shut the door. Time to go with Randy Harris and Knockout Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, Knockout Radio with Randy Harris is about to start. So get ready for the best MMA talk, games, interviews, prizes, and surprises anywhere. For Knockout Radio, I'm the voice, Ray Flores, and you can follow me on Twitter, twitter.com/Ray Flores MMA, or facebook.com/Ray Flores MMA. And now, here's Knockout Radio.
Hey-o. Hey, everybody.
What is going on, everybody? It is another Wednesday Knockout Radio on the air. What's up?
How you doing?
You and me tonight.
That's right. Tag team.
Wags is out running around Bourbon Street.
Yeah, Nollins.
What's up with that?
There's a conference going on out there, so he decided to take the trip out there.
I heard why he's really there.
Why is that?
I was told that he is there, which is great. This is awesome. He's there hunting down sponsors.
Really?
That's the main objective of why he's in New Orleans.
There you go.
So I'm very pumped about that. Derek, I hate when work gets in the way of doing this program.
Sucks.
So Derek's involved with his day job, so he will not be on tonight. We've got the giveaways to do.
Looking at the pile of names right now.
And to clarify, and you guys, you and Derek mainly, always give me crap that I'm not specific enough.
You are not.
Was I specific enough for this?
I believe you were.
Well, again,
yeah, I would say you were.
Because
yes.
In that stack is only the correct answers.
Yeah.
You know, we had people that responded but didn't answer the question. And I know for a fact.
Or answered a question that wasn't asked.
That's what I was going to say. You know, the whole object was so that people would go back and listen to the MMA Elite Alden interview. It was and a matter of fact, you could have listened to the Friday show from last week as well, or the Friday before now, because it was the same thing. And he mentioned, is it closed?
Yeah, we are done.
All right, so people can't enter anymore.
Actually, no, you said 7:30, I believe, on Twitter. If you want to go back, actually, keep talking. You know, give us the rundown for today, and I will look.
Okay, I might have done that, so I don't want to give out the answers.
That's why I'm making sure.
All right, so how are you going to tell?
You have till 7:30 to register.
Okay, so that means the drawing will be at 7:30, which means if you go back and listen to last week's program, and I'm even going to help you out in the fact that the interview happened, if I recall, right after 7 o'clock.
I believe so.
It was the second hour.
It was the second hour.
Pretty easy. There was a question that we kind of talked about. All right, then I won't talk about it anymore. A lot of subjects to get to, but here is on tap for today.
Scheduled to appear,
because when you hear the list, there will be one glaring name that's going to say, like he's going to answer the phone. All right. Scheduled to appear. We're going to go back. We kind of ended the show last week with Greg Hendrick, and we were trying to get his business partner, Ricky, I'm going to butcher this, Cotton State, who runs Jackson's MMA. He's been the general manager of Greg Jackson's gym since 2007. Started with Greg in 97. And Greg and Ricky have now started a management company, like there's not enough. And so we're going to find out from them, why these guys are going to set themselves apart. I don't want to say from everybody, but from a lot.
Differentiate themselves.
And again, big names out there at Jackson. So we're going to try to do that again. They've started Team Danami. Julie Keswick, one of
Kedsky,
one of the fighters that these two guys will represent. So those guys will be on. Towards the bottom of the hour, your TUF winner, Colton Smith. He's not even not your defending anymore, right?
No, he is not.
There's been somebody since, but he finally gets back in the cage next week in Las Vegas. And Eric kind of tweeted me an interesting question. I kind of answered it from my standpoint, but, you can, if anybody else wants to pick up the phone and, give me their take, 855-483-6646. The fact that Colton Smith is on the undercard where Ricci was on the main card.
Well, if you go back to when we had Josh Saman on talking about being the quote-unquote main event on Facebook, main event on Spike, all that stuff. They wanted a specific fighter. So maybe that was the case here, that they wanted a specific fighter. The other thing, though, Ricci was fighting in his hometown. And you know how the Canadians go, and especially the French Canadians, for their fighters.
Well, and that's kind of what I said to Eric, the fact that if you look at next Saturday's card, there's no way Colton Smith could have been on the main card.
Yeah.
I mean, when you kind of take a look at that. So Colton Smith on 6:45. Let's see if the Alaskan assassin answers the phone. Sam Hogar's doing a lot of acting now.
Really?
At least that's what he's tweeting about. So we're going to find out from him, one of the original UFC TUF contestants.
He's got a lot of stuff from that episode, from that season.
I don't think he has it anymore.
I'm sure he does.
He might have taken a lot of stuff.
He left with a lot of stuff.
And again, I still defend to this day, because when somebody gives you a box or says, hey, there's a box in the hallway, take what you want, did he do anything wrong?
You take one thing.
No. He didn't do anything legally wrong. He didn't steal anything.
I didn't say he stole anything.
I'm just saying, if there's a box there, hey, take what you need. Take what you want.
You didn't say what you said. Take what you want.
Take what you want.
And you should.
He wanted more.
You should take very, very little, minimal items from that box.
Like whatever that commercial with those little kids. He wanted more. He wanted more.
He wanted more.
So he took more. A shame that Derek won't be here tonight, because at the second hour, Norbert Hudak due to call in again. We're going to talk a little WrestleMania and give away those DVDs from the most recent WrestleMania. Hall of Fame's involved in that.
I need to check that one out. I did not see it this year.
I didn't know you've seen it any year, other than the years you've gone.
No, I started to watch last year's. I watched a little bit of it. Miami.
Okay, better you than me. Danny Vieira will be on, mainly because David Vieira doesn't speak much English.
When did he become Danny Vieira?
His business partner calls him Danny.
Okay.
The local Tampa Bay police officer calls him Danny all the time, even though we know him as Daniel. He always calls him Danny, Danny, Danny. So I did speak to David Vieira, who is in this season's TUF Brazil, and we've talked on the internet. So Daniel Vieira is going to come on, and there's a main reason, and I'll lead it up when he comes on as well. Brazil, the UFC Brazil on Twitter tweets all the time, and they sent a tweet or two out about David Vieira. And I tweeted them back and said, can you tell me what this is in English? Because I don't know what they're saying.
And they don't know what you're saying in English.
Well, you would think maybe somebody down there knows how to.
Is it down there? We don't know.
Well, if it's up here, that's even worse.
Internet. Chael's on it.
Okay, so maybe Chael's the one running it.
He might be.
So Daniel went back. He found some of the tweets. He's going to come on and tell us what they were saying. He's going to update us on how TUF Brazil is going, because I have absolutely no idea. I think David... Never mind. I'm not even going to say nothing, just in case. So we'll find out from Daniel Vieira here coming up. Aaron Riley, another fight coming up in Seattle.
Seattle.
He was close to retiring, but now he's back. So we'll talk to Aaron. Why do you say that, Seattle?
I'm just Seattle. It's a great city.
Nems is going to come on from Salty's Restaurant
In Seattle.
We have, because we're the ones that are going to be giving it away, a pretty sweet giveaway. So if you live in Seattle, if you're going to the UFC in Seattle, you're going to want to possibly get in on this.
And you still have time.
Oh, yeah.
It's not, what was it?
July 27th.
Okay, yeah, you got plenty of time.
Plenty of time. And this may even push you over, to go to Seattle. Let's be honest. It's why I'm going.
Of course it is. Of course it is. So if that gave anything away...
So
we know what it is.
Nems will be on here momentarily. All right, a handful of subjects to talk about. And you kind of mentioned as you walk into the studio that you want to start with the marijuana story.
It's the biggest thing out there. $130,000 gone. Actually, it was never given to him, but
which
gone.
To me, first and foremost, is the surprising thing, because I thought they got it right then and there.
I thought they did too.
I thought that's why Brad was there, who is the accountant who hands checks out.
Those might be the other checks. The ones that you're not expecting checks, not the official, we have to wait.
As stupid as this is going to sound then, I think it'll be easier to lose it since you've never gotten it.
Since you haven't put it into the account yet. And then you're like,
that would suck.
I've already, Dana, you're going to have to hold a couple of thousand from the next check because it's gone.
Well, you definitely don't want to do that. But yeah, so
it's gone.
If it's gone, it's gone. So a very expensive high, I guess.
Yeah. Absolutely. Hope it was worth it, Pat Healy.
Well, it's never worth it to me. It might be to them,
Hey,
but
maybe. You never know.
I don't understand. And we've gone back and forth when it's been a full, guest of studio, here in the studio, and when it's just been me and you, when it's been, you and me and Wags, when it's been you and me and Derek. I don't get it. Now, granted, I'm not out there beating myself up and, hurting. And why do anybody, any athlete, any person, when they know what's on the line, feel they have to do something like that? Because it's addictive?
I think they think they can get away with it, that they go through the certain procedures, like what the Diaz brothers do about getting it out of their system. I think they have it down, or at least they think they do, that they can get rid of whatever substance it is, whether you're talking, illegal drugs or steroids or anything like that.
Did you do any research on, did Pat say why he smoked it?
I did not see why.
Some guys smoke it because, and that's why I call it a PED, because some people say it helps them train. And if it helps you train.
But is that like any painkiller that you can get in your, in the kitchen, in your medicine cabinet?
And that's what people have come back with.
You take that too. I mean, I knew kids in high school in football that would take Advil before a football game. Performance enhancer right there. How about the necklaces that the baseball players wear? It's supposed to, stabilize you. That's enhancing your performance. So no matter what you do, the cleats that you wear, the Nike uniforms that Oregon wears, that are lighter, thinner.
That just cost you $4.
Okay.
No, the Nike, or that now it cost me $4 too.
What?
Every time you say their name, they're going to charge you.
Okay. The uniforms that they wear, that they build as thinner, they wick away the sweat. They make you faster. They make you lighter. All this stuff. They're enhancing your performance. Is that not true?
So is the fact that, are you saying they're all PEDs?
And you can consider, I believe, anything a performance enhancer depending on how you look at it.
Okay. So that's not taking away that marijuana is a PED.
The
others are as well.
The others are as well. I guess Dana doesn't agree with it, but he doesn't make the rules.
A lot of tweets, a lot of people talking about how ironic that you can lose $130,000. It doesn't even matter if it was no money. Let's just say it wasn't fight of the night. He's now lost the win, which can affect possibly, down the road because of marijuana, but TRT is okay.
You got to go through the right channels.
And again, I understand that. One is legal, the other is not.
Yeah.
I'm against one more than the other, personally.
Okay.
I've said from day one, and I'm going to, come from the uneducated side of this. I don't have a medical background. I don't understand any of this stuff. But to me, TRT is cheating.
Because you are enhancing, you're making yourself younger. I mean, if you look at Vitor Belfort.
Exactly.
You got to be kidding me. Look at him when he beat Couture to what he is now. I want whatever he's taken because that's great.
And that's my feeling as well. When you're making yourself younger, which is one of those few things that you can't do.
Yep.
So the whole advantage of a 24-year-old fighting a 38-year-old is the fact that he's younger.
Yep.
That's one of the advantages. That's the whole deal. So, to do the TRT, whether it's medical or not, it doesn't matter. It's from the standpoint of the fight. That's just my opinion. I've always said that. I'll probably always say that, even after people prove me wrong.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's always, you have good arguments on both sides of the fence.
We'll get back to this. We'll talk about it. We are waiting to talk with Greg and Ricky to kick things off. So hesitant to bring it up because people that have listened to this program, they know that it's not.
Just wait. Just wait then.
What?
If you're hesitant to bring it up, wait for the perfect moment.
This is the perfect moment.
Okay, you said you were hesitant. So
just because of the company.
Okay.
Just because I really don't want to talk about the company.
Okay.
But I think it's a story that needs to be talked about. So with that said, I'd like to ask your opinion of the whole XFC Nick Newell deal.
Now, I saw the beginning of it and I don't know if I have all the facts. I'm sure you have everything over there.
It's Knockout Radio. Of course we don't.
Okay. He was offered or he was told that he had a contract, and he refused to sign it. Is that what it was? He didn't want to fight the opponent that was given to him.
He didn't want to fight who the XFC wanted him to fight.
Okay. And his reasoning was he wanted to fight a ex-UFC or a bigger named person to help his career out. Is that
That's
another part of it.
Another part of what I've heard. Correct.
Okay. He's an idiot.
All right, I'm going to let you answer, and then I'll give you mine.
You're fighting for an organization. I could care less what organization is. You're the champion. You are there to defend that belt, and then they give you a fight. You're like, I don't want it. So how can you go up now? How can you say, well, I want to go to this organization or that organization when the bosses know you got a history?
I hate to defend that company, but how many ex-UFC fighters fight in that organization?
There are very few.
I know Jamie Varner did, right?
That's the
but
one
other
that I'm
than
thinking.
Jamie Varner, I can't think of anybody else. So we'll talk about that. There's two sides. There's three sides to every story. So we'll touch base on that. I want to get to a bunch of other things as well. But first and foremost, since we ended the program with Greg Hendrick last time, we're going to start it so we can try to do this
Kick
properly.
it off. Let's go.
Mr. Greg Hendrick, are you there, sir?
Hey, Randy, it's Greg.
Hey, Greg, how are you?
I'm doing well.
And do we have Ricky on the line yet?
No, not yet.
Okay. We'll talk real slow as we wait for. Is Ricky calling in, Greg?
Yes, he is. It's that other planet called New Mexico.
Well, that definitely is another planet. So, let's start, and we'll get right into it. Hopefully, Ricky will be calling in here momentarily. We briefly spoke last week about this brand new management company founded by you and Ricky, who's run Jackson's MMA, been heavily involved down there. First and foremost, why did you guys start this? Why is this coming together? As you know, you've talked about, there are so many management companies. What are you guys going to do differently?
I'm sure your valuable listeners that catch you every week caught part of last week, so I'll give you the abridged version. Ricky's been taking care of this before, even before I did this management situation with him. The staff, when I was at UFC, always dealt with him, as I explained, on any kind of thing, whether it was suspensions, medicals, licensing, sponsorship. He was doing the work anyway for the other managers, and I won't go into the situations, but some of the managers were not taking care of full duties. So I asked Ricky, why don't you just go ahead and take care of it? Do it on your own, take the middleman out, and take the money yourself.
Is this something, Greg, that people were familiar with? I mean, do a lot of people know that this organization has been around? Because I got to be honest with you, I didn't necessarily know that. We know about, the certain guys, good or bad. Is this something media-wise that people know about, fans need to know about, or do they not even need to know about this?
Need to know about what? I'm sorry, Rick. Sorry, Randy.
Just the fact of this management company, or really any management company.
I don't know if they need to know a whole lot. We're very, very appreciative to be on, great stations as yours, and to get interviewed and build up PR. But as far as is it actually needed that much, probably not. The main thing is the athlete, and I think that's the problem right now. People are forgetting that the reason we're all here is because of the MMA athlete.
Almost scared to throw this out to you, and I think we're still trying to wait for Ricky, to come on board. I've known you for a few years now. A lot of people know about managers, and it's not all good. Are you going to be okay in that world? Even you guys are the good guys, but with everything that's heard, everything we had Alden on last week from MMA Elite, all the negative stuff out there. How are you going to be able to kind of stay away from that side?
It wasn't bad. Open with Alden, close with me, and open with me. I feel honored for that. As far as answering your question, as far as the negativity, I'm not worried about that. It's not all roses on anything. I mean, I enjoyed my opportunity I had with UFC for 10 years. It was a great ride. I'm not saying it was all perfect then. There's plenty of fighters and managers that weren't happy with some of the licensing situations, weren't happy with some of the rules and regulations that they had to follow then. So I'm not worried about. I don't even want to call it negativity. I just want to call it the challenges, the hurdles.
All right, let me ask you this, and we are talking to Greg Hendrick, former Zuffa employee, now running his own management company, kind of based out of, or not kind of, it is based out of Jackson's MMA in Albuquerque. With the relationships that you have and you had while you were at Zuffa, literally dealt with every single fighter that's fought in the UFC since you've been there. Is that going to open up to these guys saying, oh, my good buddy Greg Hendrick now has a management company, I want to move over there?
I think it may open some of it, but there's lots of good managers out there. We're not out here to take their team. We're out to build our team. So I think that may help a little bit. I think I have a little bit of a head start on someone else starting a brand new management company in that sense. I think Randy, that also Ricky does because of his availability of being in Albuquerque. As you mentioned, our company will be an LLC out of New Mexico, not out of Vegas. So I think we have a little bit of an opportunity that way, but I don't think it's huge, and I don't think it should be any reason to scare anybody else.
What else is going on with you guys in Albuquerque and or in Vegas?
The other most exciting part, and hopefully Ricky can get online because he can explain it much better than I can, is that we're actually going to start opening Jackson's gyms. And that's going to be a really groundbreaking because of not only Greg's name, Greg's position in the industry, but the exciting part will be we're going to license them and not franchise them. Without going into too much legal, because I'm definitely not an attorney, a license is much easier for us and for the licensee to open it up financially, time-wise, and also the other thing is we will have a mixed martial arts belt system. I'm not talking about a taekwondo or a karate or a jiu-jitsu belt system. It'll actually be mixed martial arts. So little Timmy, Judy, Susie, Billy, whoever it might be, can start from a young age and go through a belt system in MMA, which is not done anywhere else as far as I know.
Has this belt system already been put together, and is this mainly, Greg Jackson, is it Greg and Winklejohn and all those guys? And do you know any of the formula of what it's going to entail?
The formula would actually be better for Ricky, Randy, I'll be honest, for him to explain. But is it already in system? Yes, it is. They're using it at their East Side gym now in Albuquerque. Everyone's familiar with the main gym, but they also have a very beautiful new gym on the east side of Albuquerque where they're using the belt system, and there are kids that are already in the program now.
I had somebody ask me this question, concerning the belt system. I think it was yesterday. Let's say somebody wants to come to Jackson's gym to train. They're not necessarily a fighter. And again, this may be a Ricky question as well. But what if they just want to do jiu-jitsu and they don't want to do, boxing, or they just want to do boxing and not jiu-jitsu? Will this belt system make them have to do everything?
No, they're not constricted to the belt system. I mean, the belt system is what the key component is available to these kids, but they don't have to. There's plenty of classes. I was in the other day, and they were having a cardio class for adults. So it's not, we don't just open the door just for the belt system. That's just a great proponent of it, and that's what will make it grow quicker. But again, there's many, many other options for the members of the gym.
For a novice that's sitting back and listening to this program and, knows of a couple managers out there because you see them either translating at an event or you see them at a contract deal, what else do you guys do as managers for said fighter? I think some of the fighters that you have, matter of fact, is Julie, who I mentioned earlier, Judy Kedsky or Dodson or those guys. What are some of the other things other than the actual contract will you guys be involved with?
Well, a major part of it, as you know, and also your listeners, is the sponsorship side. It's not NFL where they're getting constant money every week and they're having 17 games a year. These guys, they don't have to rebuild relationships every time, but they have to keep building new relationships. They're on different media, whether it be Fox or pay-per-view, whatever that might be. They're also on different platforms. We don't have just UFC fighters. We have some other fighters that fight for other organizations, and there's a lot of them out there that have many opportunities for all levels of fighters. So sponsorship's a major part. The taking care of just the everyday paperwork is another one. We're going to try to take that off so they can concentrate on being in the gym.
I know that I've asked Greg Jackson when he was on about the gym and if guys want to go there and train and how do they go about doing it. So kind of the same question for you, whether it's, being run out of Jackson's MMA or an office in Vegas, your house in New Zealand or whatever. Can an athlete just contact you? And if they do, how do you decide or, if you want to take them on as a client?
I don't want to put myself in the same boat with Greg as far as training. Greg's the pinnacle of that, not myself, as far as that side of it. But as far as figuring out the management, Ricky and I talk it out. We find out to make sure that we have common ground with the athlete and that we have a common goal, too. Just because the athlete is there doesn't mean that that's perfect. And also, along with it, we have to make sure that they meet our business model. Our business model, like I said before, I'll just touch again, is making sure that transparency is available to these athletes. There are a few great management companies out there. I won't take your time in going through them now, but that I worked with when I was with UFC. And one main thing I saw was the transparency to the fighters, being able to get them to see what appearance is next for any kind of sponsor, what kind of bill is due. You know, it's all the good and the bad, and being able to know that and letting us take care of that so they can concentrate on the actual athlete side.
Final question for you, and again, I don't know what's wrong with Albuquerque. Ricky, I guess, didn't call in or whatever, but I want to ask you this before I let you go. Any truth to the rumor that now you're a manager means you have to get in there and train with your athletes?
There's absolutely no truth to that. And for 10 years, I was outside the cage for UFC. For the next 10 years, I'll definitely still stay outside the cage.
Will you be at the event, the UFC next week? And do you have any athletes that, that'll be performing?
I will be at the event next week. We don't have any personal athletes of ours, but we have a great friend of ours, Donald Cerrone, who's fighting next week.
Probably way too early. I lied. I said it was my last question, but, probably too early to ask you this question. And maybe, after you have an athlete or two, getting into the cage, I can ask you. But do you foresee it being tougher, more difficult to watch an MMA fight now that you're going to be representing a fighter than when they're just a friend?
I don't think it'll be tougher per se. I mean, there'll be more interest on my part, but they decided to be the athlete, whether it was whatever occupation they decided to be, whether it was a doctor, dentist, NFL, MMA, whatever it might be. So their passion is to be in there, so my passion is to be able to help them. I don't think it would make my job outside any more emotional per se.
How do people get in contact with you, or is there any way to contact Ricky?
Well, like I said, let's try Planets Are Us. That would be the first thing, since we haven't been able to touch base. All seriousness, they can get us at Team Denami on Twitter. We are building the website right now, so there's not a lot on it, but we have a great team building it. That also is DinamiMMA.com, so it's DINAMIMA.com, or you can obviously get us by our cell numbers and emails that we have.
What does Denami stand for?
Loosely translated, it's Greek for strength and power.
Okay, there you have it. So look for Team Denami T-shirts shortly, right?
Absolutely. We might even happen to lose a few over to the station there and take care very well.
There you go. Greg, thank you very much for your time, and one of these days we'll get Ricky on.
Hopefully we'll find out why that service doesn't work well. Maybe, like I said, maybe it's a different area out there in New Mexico. Thanks, Randy. We appreciate it.
We appreciate it. That is Greg Hendrick, 855-483-6646.
Celebrate your passion for the Ultimate Fighting Championship at the UFC Fan Expo, presented by Fox Sports 1 on Friday and Saturday, July 5th and 6th at the Mandalay Bay Convention Center. Meet your favorite fighters and industry icons. Attend special Q&A sessions and keynote addresses. Train with legends of the sport. Participate in grappling and fitness challenges, and so much more. UFC Fan Expo, presented by Fox Sports 1 in Las Vegas, July 5th and 6th. The Ultimate Fan Experience. Tickets and exhibitor space available now at UFCFanExpo.com.
So I get a message from the public relations company out of New York involved with the Fan Expo, okay, as well as they're the ones that send out the mass whatever to get the fighters on a Wednesday. They were the guys that helped us get a Dominic Cruz on the Friday show and, helped us get some guys on the Wednesday night show as well. And I'm pretty excited because what they're planning on doing now, whether it's successful, who knows? We won't know until July 5th. But they're planning on a media row similar to the Super Bowl.
Very cool.
At the Fan Expo. And they're planning on doing just like the Super Bowl, kind of walking athletes from table to table, walking, maybe Dana, walking, whoever. I think Dana will walk by himself, but you get what I'm saying. At the Super Bowl, there'll be a PR person with every single athlete and literally take them table to table to get them on radio shows and to get some publicity. So I really think it's going to be pretty cool, and I'm excited about it.
I know at least at the Super Bowl, and I'm sure it would be the same thing there. You can reach a wide range of audience. City here, internet radio, anything, all over the place just to get their name out there.
Within an hour.
I would even say less than that.
Well, I'm saying if you do a fight at the Super Bowl, and there's no way humanly possible they'll be anywhere near the media at any event like the Super Bowl. But literally, you walk 4 inches and you're at another table, you're at another station, you're at another place. And not just, in the States, everywhere. So that is the plan. We will talk about that. We're going to add more time on our Friday program so that we can do that, as well as when they are in my hands, I will give away more UFC Fan Expo tickets as well.
I'm looking at some of the stuff that they got going on too. Looks pretty cool. Bunch of giveaways. Just the first thing that popped up was defense soap. First thing that I saw, you get a free gift when you stop by. No purchase necessary. Some of the other things they got on here, training mask.
Well, maybe I can use the training mask instead of the damn mask they want me to sleep with now.
Online discount. $60, I guess, for one or two for $100 with the new training mask 2.0.
Very cool.
Those are just some of the few that they have on.
Where's
there.
that from?
This is UFCFanExpo.com.
Okay, so you go directly to them.
This is to the website.
What's
yes.
tickets cost?
Tickets.
$45, $50?
Friday ticket is $40. Saturday ticket's $45. The 2-day ticket is $60.
$60. And we will have tickets to Friday and Saturday to give away, probably mid-June. For some reason they hold them until the very, till it's almost too late. But once we get them, we will start giving them away. We do have the 2 super prizes that will be given away at the bottom of next hour. They're both pretty cool.
They are.
The Michael Bisping walkout shirt. Have you seen Bisping has been retweeting?
I have not seen that.
It's been pretty cool. He's helped us, and he's kind of gotten involved with it. So we will be giving away the signed Bisping walkout shirt, as well as the signed poster from World Series of Fighting.
Back to the Fan Expo, they have the training and development sessions. I don't know. Have you ever had a chance to?
Yeah, I've watched it. Yeah.
5 names actually already announced. Chuck Liddell,
Yeah,
BJ Penn,
heard of him.
Dominic Cruz,
Heard of him.
and then a tag team, Phil Davis and Uriah Faber.
Well, that's because of their amateur thing.
They're looking for people. Hey,
Yeah.
come to the site. Go to the site. It's great.
Matter of fact, I tweeted Vanderlei Silva, and I said, hey, are you going to do another one of those media deals like you did a couple of years ago?
And
I didn't get a response.
he's too busy trying to track down Chael.
Does that interest you at all?
Yes.
Vanderlei Chael?
Yes.
Why?
Just because they're
The
going to
trash talking?
Absolutely.
So only the trash talking?
Yes.
Interesting.
Vanderlei comes to fight.
So does Chael.
Well, yeah, but I'm saying it's not like it's a guy who's going to talk trash and then do nothing. He's going to want to put his foot in Chael's mouth.
I'm interested in that fight. And I know that people in the studio have always given me crap. I know fans have given me crap about I like watching Vanderlei. Win or lose, Vanderlei's coming to fight.
Yep.
And I want to see that as a fan of the sport. Other sports we talk about on my day show, I'm not the biggest fan of blah, 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 blah. I could care less. I'm a fan of mixed martial arts, and I want to watch 2 guys that are going to come fight. And I think Vanderlei's going to come and bring it. I think Chael's going to come and bring it. And I think the trash talking, they're both going to bring it as well.
I think they will, and I think the fight would be great, and I think the 4 months or whatever leading up to it will be even better.
What'll even be better, I believe, coming up mid-June, is we will be able to put, not just we, not just you, not just me or anybody in the studio, anybody is going to be able to go to this website, to go to this new app that's coming out, and they'll be able to put their own poll. Who do you think will win? Will Chael survive for a minute and a half? All that kind of stuff. So we're going to get, and we've been doing it for a couple of weeks now, more information because it's slowly leaking out about Yapped, YAPPED, AP. On the line with us, our buddy, the guy behind it, former Tampa Bay Buccaneer, Javon. Hey, Javon, how are you?
Hey, good.
Got to get out of that basement in Tennessee.
You said what?
I said, what are you in a basement in Tennessee?
Man, nah. I just, it's AT&T, man. I have an AT&T corporate office around here, and I still don't get good service. So,
all right. Well, the one thing that I'm going to need to teach you first and foremost, Javon, is you need to get paid every time you say a company's name.
You say it again?
I said I need to teach you that the company you just said a company's name. They need to pay you. So we got.
I need to figure out how that works. I've been with them for a while now, so.
Well, we'll talk about that next time you come to town. But give us an update. Where are we with the Yapped app?
We're about 3 weeks out. 3 weeks out. We're getting every Friday we get new updates, new features and functions. So, man, it's an exciting time. I just got a phone call today saying we're close. So I think it's going to be something unique, man. Something really unique for all the social media junkies out there.
Anything that you can leak out? I know that you're keeping everything really close to your vest, but anything that you can let our listeners know?
Yeah. I mean, it's going to be, at the end of the day, it's all centered around, having influence on the next person's decision, Like I said, wouldn't you love to, have the choice of which music that John Jones comes out to, I mean, that's big, that's something that, hopefully, celebrities like that will open up and allow, the everyday, person into their lives a little more, have direct input on, certain things that they do, every day, each month, each year. So, I think that's what it's basically centered around. A lot of voting. We have a special function in there that, separates the voting. You'll be able to find out, who's voting, which areas they're voting for. So everything is being tracked. I think it's just something different. You see it a lot on Twitter, Facebook, of people always posing questions, but, you sit there and you have, for a guy who has 2 million followers on Twitter, he can't really track 2 million responses. So, we said, let's find a unique way to have, have the computer track the responses. And then, maybe it turns out to be something that people, will enjoy and use.
So we could put a poll question out there like, how quickly will Colton Smith win next Saturday at his UFC fight? I can't even talk today.
Yeah, and then have people, vote on it, but, also to get the tally, There's a special feature in there, which I will tell maybe about 2 weeks from now, and I think that's what's going to, make this app take it over the top. But, you get to see, and like I said, I can't really go into the feature yet. We got to wait till about a week away from launch. But that feature is going to separate, just make this app take it over the top.
Final question for you before I let you go. Will there be a charge for this app?
No, this app is absolutely free. Going into this, we weren't thinking about making any money. Just want to make something fun, for users to be able to use. There wasn't plans to make money, I can't control what happens later down the road, but I won't be charging. This app will be a totally free app from day one, and forever it's going to be just a free app. So.
Awesome. Javon, as always, thank you for the update. We'll have to get you back on either next week or the week after when it launches.
All right, thank you.
We will talk to you soon. That is Javon Hay, a businessman. Wanted to get into post-share sell as well, but on the line with us right now, Colton Smith. Colton, how are you?
Very good. How are you doing?
Appreciate your time. It's been a few months since you've been on the program. Does it feel like it's been, almost 6 months since your fight?
It doesn't. I've been hard on the grind, training hard, and 2 full-time jobs. So it's gone by pretty quick.
Has the life changed for you? I know that you came on the program pretty much right after your win. Is it different? People treat you different? I don't know how they should or could, but tell us what the last 6 months has been like.
I've done a lot of appearances. I flew around a lot doing stuff like that for smaller promotions. But pretty much the same. I've stayed pretty grounded. We haven't really changed our lifestyle much as a family. So I've been training the same training partners and doing the same thing, just trying to keep getting better and better.
Before I ask you about your upcoming fight next Saturday, UFC 160 at the MGM Grand, we just had Greg Hendrick on, starting a new management company. And like I said to Greg, there's some good ones and there's some that I don't want to talk about. But one that I definitely want to talk about happens to be the management company that represents you. Talk to me a little bit about Tina and the company.
Yeah. So Tina Vidal, ML Management, they're extremely professional. Thing about them is, they were already in corporate America before they started doing this job. They weren't just someone out of their garage that decided to start managing professional athletes. So they're professionals in their everyday life as well as managing us. So I feel very comfortable having them. They're very intelligent. They're a good team. They all work really well together. Luckily, most of us fighters get along as well. So a lot of times we'll cross-train. She sends guys out here. I'll fly out there, stuff like that.
Definitely one of the better companies. I get press releases from her all the time, emails from her all the time about the people that she's representing and, to get them on the radio, and we certainly do appreciate that. Let's talk about next Saturday, and it's funny because, Dana has always said that everybody, they like fighters. It's not necessarily countries, yet they're building this up as USA versus Australia next week.
Yeah. It's interesting when I get the matchup. first we saw the guy that I beat in the finale, Mike Ricci, GSP's training partner, fight a runner-up from the Australia Ultimate Fighter. So I had a feeling it was coming, and it did. They gave me the call, and I found out that I'm fighting the Australia winner. That's fine, and I like that. I like the whole, Australia versus USA, and find out who the better Ultimate Fighter winner is. I definitely like that. I like the matchup. Robert Whittaker's a very tough individual, strong striker, athletic, but I feel like my skill sets definitely negate all his positives.
One of the things that I always look at, Colton, and this is from the media side, not from the athletic side, but I always look at experience. You're coming in with 4 fights. He's coming in with 12 fights, professional fights. Does that matter to you?
Not at all. No. I've only been fighting for a couple of years. I have a couple more pro fights that they just aren't on my record. I guess they were under a boxing promotion in Virginia, but it's not a big deal, And to me, and I'm not really worried about all that. We're both in the UFC. There's not going to be an easy fight for anybody. Anybody I fight from here on out is going to be a tough, formidable opponent. I feel like my life experiences and my work ethic is stuff that you can't really teach in any other MMA gym. So. That's something that I carry with me in the cage.
I found one of your statements, and I don't want to necessarily say funny, but as a veteran, as I'm reading up in bios and stuff where you say, you've been at a war, you've been, Iraq, Iran, all those places where it's real life. This is fun. A lot of people think getting into a fight, that's pretty, taxing, that's pretty, nerve-wracking. But you've done something way more nerve-wracking than getting into a cage and fighting.
Yeah. I say it. I've actually got a lot of heat from it, surprisingly. But I speak from the heart when I say what we do in the cage is easy. It's I wouldn't call it a joke, but it's easy. Worst case scenario, you're waking up, single leg and Herb Dean. That's the worst can happen. Basically, people don't realize, what our soldiers, men and women, do overseas in Afghanistan right now, day to day. And I don't expect people to realize that they haven't been over there, but I just, I like to make sure that it's known that there's tougher men and women out there, and they're overseas in Afghanistan right now serving our country. So that's something that I like to make sure I send a message out and for everyone to understand.
You said that you've gotten a lot of slack from that comment. What kind of slack, and who has said what?
Just people that aren't pro-military, just people on Twitter, social media, for every one supporter, there's going to be 2 haters, and I don't care about that either. That's something that doesn't bother me. I pretty much always tell them the same thing. Thanks, God bless. I really don't care. So and I think Bleacher Report wrote some pretty crappy articles on me about that as well. I don't know. There's just one journalist, wherever he is, columnist for Bleacher Report that does not like me for whatever reason. And he's wrote a couple stories about me, so check those out if you'd like.
I normally don't take anything personal. I don't get in the middle of this, that, the other. But as a veteran, I would be curious why he dislikes you. And if it's because you're a veteran and you're military, then I'll get involved. If they don't like you for whatever reason, that's one thing. But for people to not like military and say things, it just drives me crazy. And you're the perfect person to tell this story to. My co-host who's not here tonight, Derek Kukulich, gives me crap. Because every time I go to a sporting event, my blood boils when I sit in a press box and there's media people that are too damn busy to stop for the national anthem. And I go berserk. And he's like, well, aren't you there to cover the event? And I'm like, well, yeah, after I kill this clown because he can't stop typing.
I'm the same way, man. If someone doesn't take their hat off, I don't care if I'm getting ready to step on the mat for a wrestling match, man. I was raised that way. Hem them up real quick.
Funny story, I was coaching a baseball game, and one of my players started to talk to me during the national anthem, and I turned and punched him. And it was just a reaction. I didn't mean to, but it's like, you're not supposed to do that stuff during the national anthem. All right, let's get back to the fight, for next Saturday. And somebody tweeted me this, and you brought up Ricci, and his question was, does it bother you, did it bother you, that the Ricci fight was on the main card, yet you're on the undercard? 2 different events, I know, but you're the winner. Ricci wasn't.
This is such, I had two points of thought on that, and this is such a larger card, being UFC 160, with the heavyweight championship and just the such a strong main card that I don't care. I know where I stand in the UFC. I know that I got to work my way up. As far as Mike Ricci goes, I think the depth of fighters in Canada, isn't like the United States where we have so many fighters. I mean, it's almost oversaturated in some areas. In Canada, Mike Ricci is, he's a big draw. There's not too many fighters in Canada that are that high profile as Mike Ricci. So I realize, why they put him on pay-per-view, and the card was lighter, and he's a big draw in Canada. So it is what it is. I don't care. I don't care if I was on FX. I don't care if I was on the YouTube card. It doesn't bother me. I'm there to fight. I'm there to showcase my skills and come away with the W and build my way up the ladder of the UFC. So either way, it doesn't bother me. I mean, if I was in the UFC for a year or two and I wasn't on pay-per-view yet, I'd understand and I'd be kind of mad about it. But at this point in my career, I'm at the bottom. I need to work my way up.
Tell me what you can about Robert Whittaker.
Robert Whittaker, strong striker, athletic kid. He's young. He's hungry. I'm excited for this matchup. I think it's a very winnable fight for me. With that being said, he's a very dangerous opponent. I don't underestimate any opponent I step in the cage with. And good luck to Robert. Hopefully he had a great training camp. I know he got a little intel. He went up to TriStar to finish out his camp, so he's been at TriStar for the past 4 weeks.
Interesting. Do you watch film on your opponent?
I watch film a little bit briefly, but I utilize my coaches for that. And with Tim Kennedy watches film for me. My other coaches watch film for me, and I trust their judgment and the game plan. And obviously I'll watch film real quick and just right at the beginning when I find out who my opponent is. But I honestly don't watch film that often. I don't really care to. Pretty much I'm going to implement my game plan the way I know how, and it's if they can stop it. So there's a plan A and there's a plan B. There's not a whole lot of science to fighting as far as my mind works. So I think that I leave it up to my coaches. I trust their judgment. I trust what they have for me, and I utilize that.
All right, final question for you before I ask you about your sponsors. You're going on the TV show Survivor. What 3 luxury items are you bringing?
3 luxury items on Survivor. Oh, let's see here. So I'm on the TV show Survivor. Let's do, 3 luxury items for Survivor. I would take a hatchet, an entrenching tool. It's like a shovel the Army uses. You know that, an entrenching tool. And let's see here. The 3rd item would have to be. It's not like a survival situation, so a fishing pole.
3 good ones. Appreciate it. Before we let you go, mention your sponsors. Who do we need to go out?
I'd like to start off with my my management company, ML Management, and then SC Solutions, Enlisted 9 Fight Company, Venom Fightwear, Alienware Computers, awesome computers. They just linked up with me, which is pretty cool. Lexani Wheels, Advocare. I'm sure I'm missing a couple of them, but that's I have quite a few on my banner this fight coming around. So I want to thank all my supporters, all my fans, and everyone who's pushed me this far.
Awesome. Colton, thank you very much for your time, and I'll see you in Vegas next week.
Thank you so much. God bless.
Colton Smith, everybody, your TUF winner, 855-483-6646.
It's time. My 360 view of the UFC. The upcoming autobiography from Bruce Buffer. Bruce peels back the curtain for a look like no other into the life of one of the most famous voices in combat sports history. It's time. My 360 view of the UFC.
If you're hearing these words, chances are that you, like me, are a fan of the great sport we call mixed martial arts. I'm that guy you see at every UFC match, roaring into the microphone. Yeah, I might not be the most subtle or refined announcer in the business, but I hope I communicate my passion for the sport in a way no other announcer does.
Pre-order your copy today at Amazon.com or BufferZone.net. Available May 14th.
Can't wait. We're going to have Bruce on next week.
Bruce Buffer.
We're going to have the book should be in the studio shortly as well.
Awesome.
So, well, what I was trying to get at with Colton is, that everybody says, and Dana always says that, you don't pick the country, you pick the fighter, this, that, the other. And I'm not necessarily saying that Zuffa did it. I just read it's USA versus Australia. Well, I'm one of those guys, and that's why, and I know that they give me a lot of shit for it out of Canada. But when you say Canada versus U.S., I will always take the U.S. guy. If you're building it up that way, if you're making it us versus you, I'll always go with us.
It's a fair statement. Very fair statement.
If it's Colton Smith, versus Robert Whitaker, and they never say Australia versus U.S., then to me, I don't care. Because I don't care. But when you get that flag behind it, just like, and I don't know if you saw the tweets from Derek last week, when he's like, okay, who's misbehaving in the press box tonight?
Yeah.
It pisses me off. There is nothing that bothers me more than when that happens.
Do they announce over, let you know what's going on? Because I know some press boxes are closed and you really don't know what's going on out on the field.
Yeah.
Do they say please stand the national anthem? This,
some do. I don't think they do at the local Tampa Bay Rays games, but it's an open press box.
And that's what I was getting. That one's open, so you can hear.
But you can see them walking towards you with the flag. You see the person walk out there with the microphone. And even if that's true, and you know me, I jump to conclusions, I go crazy, I understand that. Even if that's true, if you're typing and you're so caught up in typing your story that you don't look up, and you hear the first bar or two, freaking stop.
Now, how do you know that they're American, that they need to stand for that?
It doesn't matter.
What do you mean? Well,
it doesn't matter, because when I'm in Canada, even though it doesn't mean anything to me in Canada, I stand for their national anthem. It's just respect. That's what the whole thing is. It's respect. But it just so happens in the local press box, they are, more times than not, local media guys. And I don't necessarily want to go off on this too much, because then I'll end up fighting with myself.
You already have.
But I did approach a guy. I confronted a guy. I wanted to kill this guy. And the guy goes, if you don't like it, contact the commissioner.
Huh.
I did. He got suspended, because I also called. He wrote for the New Jersey something.
Look at you go.
It just pissed me off. And I know a lot of things piss me off. Nothing pisses me off more than that.
Okay.
If you can't stop for the minute and a half, what's normally the over-under at the Super Bowl?
It's about 2:10.
If you can't stop for 2:10, then all you have to do, moron, I'm not calling you a moron, I'm calling you the jackass media people, or fans that are in the stands. All you got to do is walk behind a wall. If you're in the press box and you feel that you can't, then take your laptop, walk behind the wall, and continue typing. Just my little deal.
Yeah.
Just my little spiel.
Sure, why not?
All right. Trying to hunt down Sam Hogar. Typical. Who knows what the hell's going on with Sam. So let's jump back to the Pat Healy deal.
And I was going to mention that to you. Let's finish it the way that
it
we
needs
started.
to be finished.
Yeah, yes. Go ahead. I gave kind of my stuff on it, that it's illegal. He should be taken away. Now they just announced that was it Brian Caraway is now the receiver of the submission of the night bonus. Your thoughts on that?
I have no problem with that. None. When you disqualify somebody in the Olympics, doesn't the medal go to the next guy?
I'm not sure. The one that comes to mind first is the Reggie Bush Heisman Trophy,
right?
Where they are not reissuing a new Heisman Trophy. That they said that this is how it was done. They finished second. It's done. There's going to be nothing. So I think there was no winner. It was
vacated.
You're going to let it be.
But you made kind of a funny, thing earlier.
Does the other half of the fight of the night get blown out of proportion too? Like, should the other guy lose it because technically it wasn't a
interesting call?
A legal fight.
Interesting call. It's probably one of your best comebacks ever, because he didn't get it, but Miller should. Absolutely.
Okay.
And if he doesn't, then I'm going to say stuff I'm going to regret.
Yeah, I'm sure you are. You're good at that.
It would not be fair after they won it to now penalize the opponent. So I'm okay with that. So you get half the money back, and you give it to the other person. Now you kind of made, a statement that, do you take it? You're talking about young guys that can use this money. Even though it's not the same, scenario, when you take the Heisman Trophy from Reggie Bush, Vince Young doesn't need it.
Yeah, he does.
Well, he does now, but he didn't then.
Well, no, when I'm sure it was only 2 years ago, he needed it.
That's been more than 2 years.
3 years. He needed it. There was a whole thing on your 4-letter network. See, I'm learning about all that stuff. They need it.
I'm not saying that they shouldn't take it. I'm okay with taking it. because as the runner-up, as second place, the other guy in whatever illegally didn't deserve it. So, yeah, give it to him.
But not only in a sport of honor and all that stuff that this is, you didn't deserve it. You didn't win it. You were second. You didn't win it. There you go. I wasn't good enough to win it. Whatever my performance was not good enough for that.
But he did win it because the guy who did win it was disqualified.
But leave it be. There's
right,
no winner.
So if you're going
to... You could give the other guy double for the fight of the night. I'm cool with that.
God, then you'd really be sticking it to him, and that I'm okay with that.
He gets just like or a percentage, just like when you come in overweight. Here you go. You get a percentage of it.
So let's just use an Olympic analogy.
Okay.
You know, when there have been runners that have been disqualified. Okay. And we'll just use one of the relays where the USA mishandled. Does that mean that they should stop the race? Does that mean whoever goes on to win shouldn't get it because they got disqualified?
That's still going on, though. It hasn't been already decided. This is what I'm going to look and see if, using your Olympic analogy, when the last time or a time I can find.
Of what?
Something where someone, I would say, tested positive after the fact. What happened if they won said medal?
I vaguely remember it happening not too long ago. That they stripped and then they gave different medals to different people. You had to ship it back and do all sorts of stuff. I'm okay with it. I'm all right with it 100%. He did deserve it. He had a submission. The other submission was disqualified. Give it to him. And from the athlete standpoint, absolutely. You're going to turn down $60,000, $65,000 on principle?
Principle.
Principle of what? You probably thought he deserved it anyway.
Everyone thinks they deserve it.
So then,
but you didn't win it. Dana didn't think you deserved it.
How many times, and I don't want to get in trouble here, but how many times have you, as you've watched an event, said, did he really deserve that? Did he really deserve fight of the night, submission of the night, knockout of the night? There's been times when we've watched, when we've done gigs at the Hooters on 4th Street in St. Pete, and we're like, that's fight of the night, yet they don't win it. So just because Dana said that was fight of the night or that was submission of the night.
It's all that matters.
It's all that matters from that standpoint.
The one that
I understand that.
signs it.
But what I'm saying is if they feel like they had fight of the night, they had submission of the night, but Dana didn't give it to them. I just got a tweet. Did I get paid for the name drop?
What?
I said the location where we do our gigs at on 4th Street.
Oh.
I think that was Javon's office saying, all right, if you're going to throw it back, but whatever. But next Saturday, by the way, I want to invite everybody down to hang out with the Knockout Radio crew -1.
Oh, that'd be you.
That would be me because I'll be in Vegas at the fight.
Of course.
I'm looking forward to it. When we come back, I want to talk about next week's card, and there's still controversy going on, and will Hunt get here in time? And would you rather Hunt make the fight? Because a lot of people said no.
Big country.
We'll talk about it on the other side. All right, we are back 27 minutes until the drawing. So if you're listening to the program, you still have time. All you have to do is get the question from last week's MMA Elite Alden interview, answer the question, send me the email, tweet to confirm it, and then you, Sean KO Radio.
Me. No, it's Sean. Remember, we discussed it last week. That's just the Twitter name. I'm not going by a specific ring name. It's always been Sean, but that's just, how it goes.
Thank you for correcting me.
Okay.
And what's my new Twitter?
Octagon Jimmy.
Is that what it was?
Yeah.
Octagon Jimmy. So we will have to. All right.
Kimberly Kimura.
Which you said somebody has. Didn't you say that?
It's a person's name. It's not really they're using it for.
That's beautiful. All right. So controversy. Will Hunt get here in time for next week? He still has a week to get. Really, he has less than a week. Well, no, Wednesday. He'll need to be there by Wednesday, but that's the press conference is Thursday.
They'll let him miss that stuff
if he has to.
Yeah. So it's not like he just has to be here by
Friday.
Well, Saturday.
Well, the weigh-in.
Well, yeah.
I mean, if you miss the weigh-in, that's probably not good.
They could do it via Skype because it's
yeah.
heavyweight.
Yeah,
so
well, that's
as
true.
As long as he's underneath
that's true. Give me your thoughts. Any thoughts?
I'm excited either way. If it would be Big Country or still be Mark Hunt, I think it'd be an exciting fight. Probably bigger in the grand scheme if you're talking Big Country getting the fight because of who he's fighting. I believe he's already fought Dos Santos once. But coming off the victory, his last victory a couple of weeks ago, and everyone giving him a title shot, this. Here you go. Let's see what you can do now.
I'm not sure anybody was saying give him a title shot, but I think people were saying that he's
in
there.
The talk. He is in the talk of the title shot. Who else you got? After the fight next week, barring a rematch.
Yeah, and you're correct. UFC 117 in Oakland. He fought Junior Dos Santos.
I believe it was an ass beating, but he still took the ass beating. 3
rounds. Went the whole way.
Yep.
I mean, looking at who he's fought, and a lot of times people don't look at that. When you guys give me crap, about the rankings, I look at who they fought as well. I know a lot of people, and I think you're on the side of wins and losses.
Yes.
But I got to look at who you beat and who you lose to. If you beat Kimura Kim, but Roy Nelson loses to Verdum, loses to Junior Dos Santos, that's not losing the bums.
Okay.
That's just my obviously.
Yeah, I'm just looking at his record. Just everything that's going on. Kimbo Slice, his first exhibition victory.
Yeah, back in the Ultimate Fighter house.
Yeah.
All right, momentarily, Norbert Hudak calling in. Hopefully it's in the next couple minutes. If not, we will leapfrog and get a hold of Daniel Vierra.
Danny Vierra.
You corrected me, so I won't call him Danny.
I don't know, so you didn't say Danny, so I threw it out there.
I'm curious what's going on, with TUF.
TUF Brazil,
TUF Brazil. It's a little different down there. All right, I'm lying. It's a lot different down there. So we'll get the update from Danny Vierra, better known as Daniel Vierra. We'll do that here momentarily. Some other subjects. It's been reported. It's been on Twitter. My buddy Diz has talked about it. A lot of people have talked about it. Contracts.
Okay.
I could care less. I absolutely could care less what's in the contract because it's none of my business. If an athlete signs the contract, hopefully he was smart enough to read it.
Yeah.
And if he
wasn't,
a
management team.
Or a management team that you're paying to read the contract. I think a lot of those things are in every contract. They're in your contract here at Knockout Radio.
They are.
Even though there's loopholes to a lot of things. In the state of Florida, we are a right-to-work state. So signing a letter of non-compete will not hold up in the state of Florida. At least that's what I was told when I signed one. And when they let me go, they said, we know that you signed a letter of non-compete, but it's a right-to-work state. We can't hold you to it. But it's things that are in the contract. Read it. When you go and buy a car, read the contract. Know how long you're signing for. Know how long, blah, 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 blah. So from a media standpoint, as well as a fan standpoint, to me, it's a non-issue.
What were some of the things on the contract? Do you know? What did it go into detail?
Some things did. They broke it down. Somebody sat down with Dana and I think both Fertittas, and they kind of talked about different things, that they can match, that they can this, that they can do that. But it doesn't matter. It could be anything. It could be at the end of your 10-year contract, we can chop your toes off. Did you read the contract? Did you see that was in the contract?
Did you sign on the dotted line?
Did you sign the contract? Put your toes up here, dude. We're chopping them off. I mean, as silly as that sounds, it is what it is. Read the contract. And to me, it doesn't matter. We can match. We can cut you. We can this. It is what it is.
How bad do you want it? That's what it is. Do you want to agree to those terms?
Renegotiate.
Or do you want to work somewhere else?
Say, you know what? Yeah, I'll do it, but you can only chop off one toe, not 3.
But isn't that kind of like what Randy did? Talking about Randy Couture? He battled them back and forth for different things.
Well, many guys. So did Tito. So did, guys.
And that one was likeness, correct?
Yeah.
With Randy Couture?
Yeah.
Because I noticed that the video games, he wasn't in the video games. He was in the EA Sports video games.
Right. And that's in the contracts, too, that you give up. But the WWE is the same thing. Speaking of the WWE, on the line with us right now, Norbert Hudak, to talk a little. Today was the release date of WrestleMania. Norbert, how are you?
And I just finished reviewing my contract with you. And no, yeah, we're talking WrestleMania today. We're talking the DVD and Blu-ray. Just came out yesterday, and so it's fresh, brand, and hot off the presses.
Now, we're going to talk about the entire DVD, but it's always my favorite DVD to talk about because I tend to forget. I know with all the promotion, and I know everybody's going to say you're an idiot, and I am. I forget about the Hall of Fame. So I kind of lose track of it, and then I watch the pay-per-view on Sunday, and I missed it. And this is the opportunity to go back and see the things that I missed.
Absolutely, and even if you watched the Hall of Fame, you didn't get to see it all, and it's all on the DVD. So it's a pretty long event, and you get to see all of the different superstars and their full-on speeches, and so there's a lot that hasn't been seen yet that is on the DVD.
One of the things, Norbert, one of the other things that I enjoy about the Hall of Fame, and when Vince McMahon came out quite a few years ago and said this is entertainment, it doesn't open me up to what I'm about to say. I enjoy watching it because it's them as real people. You know, they're not there necessarily in the persona. They're not in there putting on a show. It's an emotional thing, and you get to see these athletes as people, not as their character.
Boy, and you are right about that, and I think this year was no different. I mean, when Booker T's brother gets up there and talks about what it was like growing up, and, you know, obviously as Stevie Ray, who we all know as well, and, you know, hearing him give such an emotional speech about growing up with Booker T, telling childhood stories, things like that, you know, and when Trish Stratus talks to the crowd and just as a regular person and thanks her husband and partner for so many years and, you know, provided some really fun, laughable moments as the entire Madison Square Garden booed this poor guy.
Right.
And, you know, it's really, it's a great experience. And you get to really see what these people are like. You know, Mick Foley, Bob Backlund, Bruno Sammartino, just talking to their peers, talking to their friends.
Yeah, and I saw the Bruno interview, and I thought, or the induction, I thought that was pretty good. What do we need to do as media? What do we need to do as fans? Of course, Derek's not here tonight to chime in as well. To tell Lanny Poffo to shut the hell up so that the WWE can put Randy in?
I think it's just an email campaign.
Well, then we'll get it started. You know, Lanny lives here locally in the Tampa Bay area. He's been on my program before. But, you know, enough is enough. And some of us think we know what's going on. It doesn't matter. Randy Macho Man Savage needs to go in. And if it's an email, then we'll have to get that started. But that's on another day. Let's now talk about on Sunday, the actual WrestleMania.
Absolutely. So, you know, there was many great matches, and I think, you know, every WrestleMania has its own unique storyline, its own highlights, and for me, and I think a lot of people, the Undertaker and CM Punk match was amazing. The Brock Lesnar versus Triple H no-holds-barred match was just incredible. And, of course, you know, Cena versus Rock, you know, it's just entertaining because those two guys are just really good at what they do. So, you know, those are the kind of the three big matches that I think people enjoyed and will be great to see over again on DVD and Blu-ray.
You know, a lot of times, you know, it has nothing to do with the DVD, Norbert, but a lot of times people, you know, kind of rip, you know, wrestlers, you know, that it's entertainment, that they're not athletes, you know, which to me is a joke to begin with. But to now find out how injured Rock was, and to continue and to go through, and you can't even necessarily tell as you're watching the DVD or if you watch the event, to know what happened to him is amazing. And these guys and girls are athletes, and I wish more people thought that.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we all know the deal with wrestling, but the things that these guys do, and you couldn't tell that Rock was injured, and he still put on that great of a show with a pretty severe injury. I mean, it's pretty amazing, and it says a lot. And you can go back and watch it now again and, you know, kind of look, okay, you know, what can I see? And will I notice it now? Because we certainly didn't notice it the night of.
What are some of
the other thing that's cool is, you know, we get a chance to see some of the up-and-comers and, you know, the new superstars that have earned their way to WrestleMania. We got The Rock and Cena, who clearly have earned their way, but new guys like Fandango and like Ryback, who have quickly ascended on the scene. We get to see what they do on that huge stage.
Will we continue doing these WWE updates if I give you my opinion of Ryback?
Yes.
Okay. Over it. It's the only guy that I can't watch. It's part Bill Goldberg, but the other, it's like, I just don't get it. And I enjoy watching it. We've gone to the events. It's entertaining, but I just don't get his angle, which, and I know, and the fans of WWE and wrestling knows that if people don't like the angle, they'll redevelop and come out with something different.
That's right. And, the worst thing possible is no reaction. And right now he's getting a reaction. You don't like him, and some people like him, and I think his character's evolving. But what's interesting about him, like him or not, is he has really ascended. He really made an ascension to the top really quickly, and so the WWE sees something there that they want to build on.
Well, and Norbert, you brought it up, perfectly in the fact that you want a reaction. You don't necessarily even care whether you're liked or disliked, as long as there's a feeling. Back in the day, back when I was young, people would pay money to root for Ric Flair to lose. And Ric Flair would keep winning, but people would keep paying in hopes that he would lose. And maybe that's, a Ryback angle as well. What are some of the special bonus features in the DVD?
Yeah, so in the DVD, you get to see the dark match, the pre-show. So we get to see Wade Barrett versus The Miz in the Intercontinental Championship match, which occurred before the actual pay-per-view. There's a post-WrestleMania show. And then, of course, the entire Hall of Fame induction ceremony. If you get the Blu-ray, you also get some of the events leading up to WrestleMania. The Monday Night Raw, where Triple H and Brock Lesnar signed their contract. That was on 3/18. Then the following week, when CM Punk went crazy in terms of Undertaker and ending the streak. And then there's also a really cool Q&A session with The Rock and John Cena as a bonus feature on the Blu-ray as well.
And that's, taking these DVDs to a whole new level, the bonus features, the things that we might not have seen or caught, or they didn't show, at the event live or when they're doing the updates. So another quality DVD. We have, according to Derek Kukulich, 9 of these to give away tonight at $11.59.59. How do people pick them up? Where are they available?
Yeah, you can go anywhere that DVDs are sold. You go to Amazon, Best Buy, Walmart, and you'll be able to find WrestleMania 29 on Blu-ray and DVD.
It's never too early to start thinking about New Orleans and WrestleMania 30.
I've started thinking about it.
So have we. Norbert, thanks for your time. We'll talk to you next week.
Thanks, Randy.
855-483-6646.
I am Salties.
Can you imagine Salties? Imagine a place that becomes something absolutely unforgettable.
Sustainable seafood from icy waters of the Pacific Northwest.
Salties is sweet coconut-crusted prawns.
Salties is live Dungeness crab.
The finest USDA prime steak.
With perfectly paired wine.
Your life is our celebration.
Your table is waiting at Salties.
Go to salties.com and make your reservation today. Salties, Alki Beach, Redondo Beach, and Columbia River.
We're going to have to try the Columbia River because we tried the other two.
I don't know. I enjoyed the one. They had a pretty sweet sushi roll that was not on the menu at the other location. So what's fresh to the area?
We have a very special interview coming up with Nems from Salties in about 20 minutes.
Okay.
She's going to announce a pretty cool giveaway that we are going to be giving to a fan. So it'll be 2 for Seattle. So whether you live in Seattle or you're coming to the UFC in Seattle, you might want to pay attention to this because it's definitely going to be some cool stuff. So is there an event this weekend?
There is.
We haven't even touched on it.
No, it's kind of weird, I guess, because the whole Brazil thing, and such a big event next week. I think that's why it might be getting overlooked. But
is it because it's Brazil, or is it because everybody's looking forward to next week, or, and we've talked about this before, is there just too many events?
All three. I will say it's a little bit of all three, and you did not include a big reason why people are talking about it is your TRT exemption and what is going to go on. What is Vitor Belfort going to look like Saturday evening?
Atlas. Chiseled. But it is what it is. Unfortunately or fortunately, if it's legal, if it's allowed, then, I'm trying to get a hold of Daniel Vierra.
Danny Vierra and what's going on in TUF Brazil, too.
Do you not want to know?
Sure, why not? I was just looking at some things online.
All right, so talk to me about this weekend.
What would you like to know? What's the Jacare fight with Chris Camozzi, who I believe was it 4 times that the opponent changed for Camozzi?
3 or 4 times. But a friend of the show comes on the show a lot of times. I cringe when somebody says I have nothing to lose.
You were just talking about during the break the people losing contracts, getting cut. You have a lot to lose.
Yeah.
You go out there and get knocked out in 15 seconds. They go, was this guy really right for us?
And there have been,
don't think
right,
so.
And there have been times when guys have stepped up and taken a fight, they lose, and then something happens down the road, and it's part of the reason, that they're let go. So you always have something to lose. Always. Being around Chris Camozzi, the little bit that we have, he's not the type of guy to go in with the attitude, well, if I lose, I lose. And a lot of times we take that as that's what they're saying. That's not I'll go in, I'll do the best I can, but if I win, I win. If I lose, I lose. I don't think he's looking at that. And I like that fighters, or really anybody, is always willing to step up. Kind of like what you said about, the fight of the night or the submission of the night or whatever. These are guys that are willing to step. They want to test themselves. They want to see where are they. Are they as good as they think they are in the gym? This is going to be a tough test for Chris Camozzi.
It's going to be a good fight. Interesting. I believe this is Jacare's first fight coming over from Strikeforce. He was the Strikeforce champion at one time, and he's fighting in Brazil.
And you think that's an advantage, the Brazil thing?
Absolutely.
Location, food, environment?
I don't think food matters because they're on their own thing. They know what they
See, I think food's more important than...
You always think food's more important.
Well, no, what I'm saying is, I went to Brazil. So there was some food there I didn't like.
All right.
But if it's the only thing I have, I got to eat it.
But you can find your kind of food no matter where you go.
No, there were a lot of buffets down there.
There you go. What and I know you like to tell the story in London. What was a restaurant that was right around the corner from the hotel, a Texas steakhouse?
Yeah, that we went to.
So
were a lot of the fighters.
It's right there.
Yeah. No, but that's London.
Well,
Ask Chael Sonnen. There's not steakhouses in Brazil.
Has he been there?
Even though there is. That's the Brazilian steakhouses. They were pretty good. Enjoyed it tremendously. Just announced UFC headed back to Toronto. Oh, we got to get back to the card. I didn't mean to blow it off.
No, it's okay. Talk about it. I'm recovering over here. My head is throbbing.
September 21st, UFC heads back to Toronto. They just announced Milwaukee and Indianapolis and a bunch of other events being named. I'm waiting for Russia. They talked about I'm going to the one in Russia.
Have fun.
I think I will. If you're headed to Las Vegas this weekend for the UFC, next weekend, I'm sorry, for the UFC, and you don't have tickets, I can hook you up to hang out with Frank Trigg at Hammers, watch the UFC, get some food. I'll even pick up some of the food as well.
Oh, you'll pick up some of the food?
Yeah, I'll pick it up.
Wow.
Yeah.
Serve it at the table.
I'll be at the event. I'm saying I will pick up the tab.
Oh, wow. It's impressive.
5.5 minutes away from the drawing.
Yep, drum roll, right?
Well,
we're going to start.
I'm going to wait in 3 minutes. I'll check the emails one more time to get some last-minute registrations. And then what we're going to do is we have the 2 giveaways. The first name that you pull out of that basket gets their pick.
Okay.
They can pick the signed Bisping walkout or the World Series of Fighting poster signed by them all. That was the Orlovsky fight.
Okay.
Yeah, in Atlantic City. And
you're a winner either way.
You are.
But you get you get your choice.
And unless you test positive, you get to keep that first prize.
Well, there you go.
We will test.
Now, if you fail, do you just drop to the second one?
Nope. If you fail, you have to return it.
Okay.
Just like any others. All right, back to the Brazil card.
Okay. Rafael Dos Anjos, Evan Dunham is one of the fights on the FX card.
How far has Evan Dunn, fallen? He was right there on the verge.
Yeah, well, he beat Tyson Griffin. That you're talking back into
Right.
2010,
and that's when he kind of blew up.
fought Sean Shirk. It was a fight of the night, but still lost a split decision.
A lot of people thought he won.
And
I didn't, but a lot of people thought he did.
Followed up with a TKO loss to Melvin Gilliard,
who will be fighting in Seattle.
And then from there, so his last 4 fights, he's 3-1. The one loss is to TJ Grant, who is fighting Gray Maynard, I believe.
Mm-hmm. For the title shot.
Is that what the shot for Benson Henderson?
Correct.
And that's at 160 as well, isn't it?
The TJ Grant fight is.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The Grant.
Yeah, that's next week.
Okay.
Had the opportunity to sit down with TJ in Canada, and a nice young man. I enjoyed the conversation. Kind of like when you talk to Colton Smith. An educated young man. Likes to give his views, and they're both good and up and coming guys. TJ Grant wins next week. He's fighting for the title.
Pretty cool. It's a huge opportunity.
I think it'll be a good fight next week. Again, don't want to jump ahead of next week. You keep making me take the leap. What else?
Rafael Nadal. I want to say Rafael Nadal every time I see his name.
He's going to come in with a tennis racket.
Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's going to be his gimmick.
Mike Rio, friend of the program, is on the show. He's on the Fuel TV portion.
I believe Mike Rio also represented by Tina Vidal and ML Management.
I believe so. Paulo Tiago is on the card. Gleison Tebow, or Tebow, depending on who's pronouncing it. But all these events, especially the Fuel and the FX cards, have been the better ones of the group so far this year.
Main event, give me your take.
It's hard to pick against Vitor Belfort.
It is, isn't it?
Looking the way he does, and again, fighting in Brazil.
And as stupid as this is going to sound, it's not how he's looking, it's how he's performed. Now, granted, I'm sure some of that is because of how he looks, because of what he's taking, which hopefully someday they will get that rectified. But I just think he's on a tear. Give me his last rundowns, last, 3, 4, 5 fights.
Vitor Belfort, Michael Bisping,
correct,
John Jones, and the heavyweight Rumble Johnson.
All right, and go before.
Yoshihiro Akiyama, Anderson Silva, Rich Franklin, Matt Lindland. Now we're going all the way back to 2009.
All right, well, I don't want to go that far back. Let's go like the last 4 or 5 fights, who he fought, how it ended, and so that we can get kind of because this is another one of those. It's still Strikeforce fighters. Yes, they were now in Zuffa, but I've always said until you actually come and fight in the UFC, run down, and you just ran it down, run down that for us with Vitor, and then jump to the other side.
Okay, so Rich Franklin victory, catchweight fight. He won knockout of the night. This is back at UFC 103. Okay. Anderson Silva, the front kick, loss. Yoshihiro Akiyama, victory, knockout. Anthony Rumble Johnson, submission victory. John Jones, the submission loss. And then Michael Bisping, the TKO in January. Now he's facing Luke Rockhold, who is the former Strikeforce champion. His last 3 fights, Jacare, where he won the middleweight belt. That was a decision. The Dean of Mean, Keith Jardine, he knocked TKO. And then
wasn't
Tim
that
Kennedy.
like real quick, real early?
It was at the end of the first round.
Okay. When a lot of people felt that Jardine didn't even deserve to be there.
Wasn't that his first fight in the organization and everything? Just giving him give him a shot because of the name.
So right or wrong, I'm going to continue with until you come over, when you come over, and when you beat a UFC fighter, then I'm going to believe.
And this is
then I'm going to buy into it. And it's not necessarily dig.
Yeah.
But it's just, I don't think you're comparing apples to apples. You can be a champion. You can be, and I've used this analogy before, you can be the MVP in AAA. Doesn't mean you're going to be an all-star in the majors.
Yeah, very, very true. You could be a career 260 hitter.
And that almost gets you in the Hall of Fame.
Almost.
So, just heard from Daniel Vierra, better known as Danny.
As Danny Vierra.
I believe he'll be calling in momentarily, so we can catch up with him. We're also going to catch up with Aaron Riley. His fight's in Seattle right around the corner. We're going to get a hold of Nems here shortly so she can announce, winner. It is 7:30. So,
check your email.
Let me check the email real quick. One final time. As I'm checking it real quickly. Now I'm getting feedback. I don't know where. This is beautiful. I can hear myself.
Not anymore.
No, I love hearing myself.
I know you do.
That's the whole object of being on. All right. Here's the last couple that just filled in. Put it in the pile. There's the drum roll. Your first place winner, their choice of either the signed Michael Bisping being donated by Alden or the poster will be Nate Smothers. Nate Smothers is your first place, and runner-up, he will get, like they say on Let's Make a Deal, what's left over, Eric Fleek. So there are your two winners. I will, if you're not listening, I will get you out a Twitter here at the top of the hour once the show is over. All right, TUF Brazil's going on. I have to be honest. I know nothing about what's going on. I am not watching online. I don't understand Portuguese. I saw the tweets. We talked about it. I had no idea what it said, so I went to the best place I could.
To the source.
I went to the source. You call him Daniel. I call him Danny. Daniel Vierra. Daniel, how are you?
Randy?
I appreciate your time. First and foremost, your brother on this season's TUF Brazil. Where are we in the filming?
It's over, so they're just playing right now on TV. But I believe it was over about a month ago. So.
All right. No. I mean, I understand that because they're now showing it, in Brazil and they're showing it online. What I'm saying is, where are we in the filming as they're showing it on TV? Are we in week 3? Are we in week 6? Is it almost over?
Right now, I think this week starts the quarterfinals. So there is about a month before it's over.
All right. First and foremost, obviously we can't talk about anything that hasn't happened. I don't know. Maybe you do, seeing that, like I said, your brother was involved. So let's go back in time. Tell us, how did David get in? David, very well known in the Tampa Bay area. I believe one of the best jiu-jitsu fighters I've ever seen. How was his fight to get into the house?
First, actually, he wasn't very excited about getting into the TUF. I was the one who signed him up, and I just told him, I said, listen, I signed you up, and you got to show up at the tryouts the next day. And he was like, why did you do that? I'm not even prepared. I'm like, I don't care. You just got to go. So he went there. He wasn't sure if he was going to get in. But, David is very charismatic. He didn't, he wasn't fighting for like 5 years, just running his school in Brazil. So, he went through the tryouts, medical, grappling, stand-up, and he made into, I think, the number 28, 28 fighters. And then there was, the 28 fighters fought, and then the 14 came out. So David won his fight against, I can't remember his name now, but I know the guy was undefeated with 11 wins. So it was a pretty tough fight, but he was able to pull the decision and get into the house.
Now, leading up to that, I know that David has his own school there in Rio, but correct me if I'm wrong, he's also training at Nogueira's?
Yes. Even though he was in Brazil, he wasn't fighting professionally, he never stopped training. He was always, active in training, as much as he could at Nogueira's, and also Gordo. Gordo has been doing this for a long time, so he was always active, his stand-up and ground. But like he said, because of not fighting for almost 5 years, in the cage, he felt like it was his first time, starting all over again.
What happened now? He's fought his way into the house. Before you tell me, about the fight, How did he respond going into the house? You know, he has a pretty nice life down there. He has his own house. He has his own business. What was it like for him, now that you've had the opportunity to talk to him, about kind of going and roughing it and, you know, being with some people that are not maybe in the same lifestyle as he is down there?
Yeah, he said it was rough in the beginning, but you know, after the first week, he was telling me that, you know, everybody's the same. It doesn't matter where you came from. If you came from where, you know, if you're poor or not, you know, once you're in the house, it really doesn't matter where you came from. Everybody's fighting for the same dream. And he became friends with almost all the guys. Even the guys he fought, you know, he was friends with them. So you know how David is. You know, he's very easy to make friends and things like that.
All right. Then where was his fight? I know that he's had his fight. You know, when was that? Was that early? Was that week 1, week 2? When was that?
Yeah, it was actually, that's one of the reasons he wasn't very happy about it, because his fight to get into the house, it was a decision of, I guess, a very tough guy, you know, undefeated, like I said, 11 wins. And he got hurt during the fight. He did get into the house. And for his, you know, an advantage, his fight was the very first fight of the show, actually the second one, but it was in the first week. So he never really had a chance to heal from getting hurt, you know, in the fight to get into the house. So he didn't do that great. You know, he ran out of gas, like, you know, we know it. And he ended up losing the fight for another undefeated guy, really good stand-up and ground. His name is Yun. And his very last fight before getting to the TUF was in Japan against Sakuraba, and he finished Sakuraba in the first round, submitting him. So this guy is very experienced, and David, you know, walked in there hurt and just, you know, lost it on the second round. But he had a really good first round. He almost got him on a stand-up katagatame. But he said, you know, he just ran out of gas. He had nothing. He was hurt. He didn't have gas, and that was about it.
You know, it's Daniel, it's interesting that you said that. And on the line with us right now, Daniel Vierra's brother, David Vierra, is on this season's TUF in Brazil. And since I can only understand 3 words that David says, and Bisup is one of them, I thought it was much better to get Daniel on. Josh Saman was on our show every week during the TUF episodes that he was on. And people gave him a ration of crap because he did want to wait. He wanted to wait for certain things. And he always kept saying that it's the ultimate goal is to be there at the end. And so it's unfortunate that David got thrown to the wolves so early. And now maybe people can understand why Josh said the things he said, why Josh did some of the things he said, because he wanted to be there at the end. He wanted to fight in the finale, which unfortunately he didn't do, but he made it, you know, came up one fight, too early. But it's just interesting that you've said that about David. The main reason that I wanted you on, and I know that you've done your homework for us, and I appreciate it, TUF Brazil has been tweeting things, and then they tweeted something about David, and I tweeted them back and said, could you say this in English? Because I don't understand Portuguese. What were they tweeting?
It was just about the pranks. You know, David is, he can get very creative when it comes to that. And him and another kid, his name is Patolino, he's the youngest kid in the house. They just been pulling all the pranks that, you know, whoever's watching the show, you know, they're going to see that David is pretty much, you know, leading and doing all the pranks, and that's what they were talking about. There were some pranks that, you know, involved different things, and David said, you know, the worst pranks are still to come within the next episodes, but that's what they're talking about. They're just, like, mentioning that David was so full of ideas that it was just insane, you know, the stuff that he comes up with.
Where can we see, you know, I know it's online. Where online? You know, where can people watch, you know, TUF Brazil? Do you know?
Actually, if you go to the UFC website, on the right corner, on the right top corner, it says TUF, and there's a drop-down box, and there's TUF Brazil. You click on there, and it's going to open a page with all the videos. They're like, I think, 1 week behind, but you can watch all the videos with the closed caption. So since the first one, I think they have up to number 8 week there. So it's just go straight to the UFC website, top right corner, TUF, drop down TUF Brazil, and you have all those options there. And like I said, it's in Portuguese, but you have the closed captions in English.
Well, and the beauty of Daniel Vierra, Sean, is the fact that he'll translate properly.
Yes.
That's all I'll say. Danny, thank you very much for your time. Let's talk soon, all right?
Sure. Thank you for calling. You have a great day, Randy.
All right, talk to you soon. 855-483-6646. That's the number.
Celebrate your passion for the Ultimate Fighting Championship at the UFC Fan Expo, presented by Fox Sports 1 on Friday and Saturday, July 5th and 6th at the Mandalay Bay Convention Center. Meet your favorite fighters and industry icons. Attend special Q&A sessions and keynote addresses. Train with legends of the sport. Participate in grappling and fitness challenges, and so much more. UFC Fan Expo, presented by Fox Sports 1 in Las Vegas, July 5th and 6th. The ultimate fan experience. Tickets and exhibitor space available now at UFCFanExpo.com.
I think we're moving Aaron Riley to next week. Kind of running out of time. We need to get Nems on just to talk about this giveaway. We did announce, if you're just now tuning in, the winner of his selection, his pick, either the signed walkout shirt donated by MMA Elite Alden, even though he's really not MMA Elite anymore. He still owns the company. Donated a Michael Bisping signed walkout shirt, or the World Series of Fighting poster goes to Nate Smothers. I appreciate you following. I appreciate you getting involved. Eric Fleek is our runner-up, and he will get what is second. 2 super prizes. We're getting ready to talk about another prize that we're going to be giving away coming up. But first and foremost, what's my favorite subject? MMA is second. Food would be number 1.
Okay.
Favorite restaurant in the country. We went there not too long ago. Let's head out to Seattle at Salty's. You've heard the commercial a couple times tonight. Nems, how are you?
Hey, I'm great, Randy. How are you?
We appreciate your time on short notice. Just wanted to kind of touch base and talk a little bit about Salty's, about the restaurant, about what's going on out there before we kind of let the cat out of the bag.
Well, absolutely. I'm so glad you said best restaurant in the country.
It is.
It is. We're so looking forward to this year. So you lead me as to how you want me to let the cat out of the bag.
Well, we'll get to that in a second, but talk to us about the restaurant. There's 3 locations. We were fortunate enough to go to the 2, so give us a 30-second rundown on them.
Okay, well, owner Jerry Kingan has 3 restaurants. One is on the Columbia River in Portland. That's about 3 hours away from where we're at, but south. But they have another one in Redondo, which is a little tiny Redondo Beach, but it's a gorgeous view of Vashon and the Olympic Mountains, and it's right on Puget Sound. I mean, you could step right in the water. And then we have what we'd like to say our mothership store. This is our Salty's on Alki, which is very large on Elliott Bay, and it is, if you picture the poster that everybody buys when they want to get the Seattle skyline, that's the view. And it's just 24-hour, billion-dollar view with nighttime it's shining bright, and sunsets are amazing, and the daytime is gorgeous also. Now that we have a new thing out here called the Big Wheel, and it's a big a ride that just takes you, to see the sights, kind of like a Ferris wheel, but it's huge. So that's added to the new skyline as well.
Very cool. Well, 2 of the things that stuck out to me was, A, the quality of the food that we were able to enjoy while we were out there. And then the second thing was when your comment was, what do you mean you're leaving early Sunday? Because we were on the first plane out.
Yeah. Because I knew you'd miss out. I knew you'd miss out on what we're famous for. We were just voted by Open Table best brunch in the country. Well, there was 100 of them here, but in the country. And so that is just an amazing honor, because our brunch is wall-to-wall, floor-to-ceiling, you name it. Anything you want at brunch is there. We're talking crab, cracking all the Dungeness crab you can eat, and Dungeness is absolutely what we're famous for out here in the Northwest. And you've got your peel-and-eat shrimp, you've got your prime rib, and your fresh carved turkey, you've got your ham, you've got all your basic brunch items that you would always expect, like eggs Benedict and potatoes and everything. But then you have a pasta station, you've got your hen house is what we like to call it, because you've got your omelets galore, and then you've got your dessert wall. That is an entire wall itself with fountains and our white chocolate mousse cake. So we have a whole entire bakery downstairs. This brunch it's out of control. We have make your own Bloody Mary bar. This thing is huge. It's anything you can possibly think of to put in a Bloody Mary, from wasabi to horseradish to skewers of salami and prosciutto. It's truly amazing, and I've worked for the company for so long, and I still, to this day, haven't found a brunch better.
Well, I learned my lesson, and
Yes.
I haven't booked my flight yet, so I'm
Okay.
purposely going to be on a late flight Sunday so that I can come out on Sunday to the brunch. But I'm not coming alone.
No.
We've invited a few people to join us, one being Melvin Gilliard, who will be coming out with his wife, who will be on that UFC card on Saturday. We're waiting for confirmation from a few other guys, and I'm going to even throw the other name out because Eve Edwards, one way or another, I'll make sure that he is there. There's some other people that we're going to approach next week. It's going to be a big shindig. We're inviting not only the fighters out, but, fans to come out and meet the guys and hang out with the guys. And I know that we're going to have a lot of fun with that. But now we're going to let the cat out of the bag.
Yes. Would you like to, or would you like me to?
I'm going to let you do it. You were kind enough to offer this. So what will Salties and Knockout Radio be giving away?
Well, we'll be giving away. What we're going to do is we're going to promote we just want everybody to come out and meet the fighters, and we maybe even say hi, come up and talk to them. Maybe they'll be giving out autographs. We don't know yet, but we would love to have a couple of lucky winners win a brunch to come out to this fabulous, awesome, wonderful brunch. So is that what you had in mind?
Oh, absolutely. And not only will they be eating the brunch, but they'll be eating brunch with us, with Melvin, with Eve. They'll be all part of what we're doing. So if you live in Seattle, you want to stay close. If you're coming to the UFC event in Seattle, you want to stay close. And if you're not coming, you might want to change your plans just so that you might be eligible to do this. So I appreciate, you getting involved with us. We're looking forward to it. My day show will be broadcasting live on Friday. So a lot of big things that we're going to be doing with you guys at Salties out in Seattle.
Well, we are so excited, and like I said, we've got it all. That brunch on the 28th is just designated to come out and meet the fighters. And we know how big UFC is out here. It sells out right away. We know that because we've tried to get tickets before, and, it's so hard. So it's huge out here in Seattle.
Well, we're looking forward to returning. Thank you very much for your time, and we'll get you on a couple more times leading up to.
Awesome. Okay, we will see you soon.
Thanks, Nems. That is Nems from Salties, 855-483-6646.
I am Salties.
Can you imagine Salties? Imagine a place that becomes something absolutely unforgettable.
Sustainable seafood from icy waters of the Pacific Northwest.
Salties is sweet coconut-crusted prawns.
Salties is live Dungeness crab.
The finest USDA prime steak.
With perfectly paired wine.
Your life is our celebration.
Your table is waiting at Salties.
Go to Salties.com and make your reservation today. Salties, Alki Beach, Redondo Beach, and Columbia River.
I really feel bad for you.
Why is that?
Well, because I know you started this other new diet thing and you're cleansing and all that kind of stuff.
I am eating healthy. That's what I'm doing. I'm eating healthy. So all that talk was going right to me.
I'm going to eat healthy at Salties. You can count on that.
I do believe how I was feeling now, being kind of hungry, I left the opposite when we were there in Seattle. It was fantastic.
Yeah, we don't need to tell many food stories and all that kind of stuff, but it certainly was a great deal of fun. All right, this weekend, UFC. Next weekend, UFC. Anything sticking out? Anything? We've talked about the main event. Are you looking forward to that fight? Because I really am.
You just mentioned two different UFCs. So what
this weekend? Let's talk about this weekend first.
Yes, I'm curious to see a Strikeforce fighter, a Strikeforce champion, coming over, fighting a UFC mainstay. I guess you could put it. And even though he's a bit older, he's feeling a whole lot younger. So let's see.
Funny how you say that.
Well, let's see how this fight is with Vitor Belfort and Luke Rockhold.
If Luke wins this fight, where do you put him? Does he automatically jump into, the top, the upper echelon?
Yeah.
Or are you looking at Vitor like, he's not at the top, so if he comes in, it's kind of like expected?
No, you would have to put him at least, I would say top 7 with a victory, maybe even top 5 depending on the way he won, because you still have to look at it. He is a Strikeforce champion, and they were giving Gilbert Melendez all this hype. Where
not they, we.
Yeah.
We meaning me. I'm not saying you. I was putting Gilbert in that.
And this is a champion. He did his job. He can only fight for the organization he worked for.
He can only beat the guys in front of him.
He is now fighting for the big show, so to speak. Let's see what he can do.
I'm really looking forward to it because I don't know where to put Luke. I look at who he's fought. I look at that kind of stuff, but I want to see what he does. And that's kind of like what you said in the bigs. This is the big event. This is the NFL. This is MLB. And I'm really curious. I know that his attitude, his demeanor, all of that stuff is upper echelon. Let's see if he can do it in the cage as well.
Luke Rockhold, currently on the UFC rankings, is number 5. So just letting you know, it's a 5 versus 2 matchup.
Not according to my top 10, just so you know. I just don't know how you can put anybody in a top 10 that hasn't fought yet. They didn't want to put Chael in light heavy because he hasn't fought there. Not saying that Chael deserved to be in the top 10. I'd never put him there. I'm just saying you need to stick to some kind of rules.
Yours is a 3-6 matchup, so you got Rockhold ranked 6.
See, my thing's all screwed up. It really, truly is. They move people around. I don't know who's running my top 10. People got moved that I didn't move. I didn't even think I ranked Luke, to be honest. Because my thing was I felt you needed to fight in the organization first.
Okay, yeah. You have you got Luke Rockhold ranked 6th.
I think somebody's got control of my
your email?
The login.
Your login information.
Well, if you look at, there's another one that like 6 fighters moved.
The lightweight division.
I didn't touch it.
You move Cowboy up 3 spots, Jim Miller down 1, Nate Diaz down 1, TJ Grant down 1, Josh Thompson moved 5 spots down, and Rafael Dos Anjos dropped a spot.
And I didn't do that. The only thing I did is I moved Thompson up. That's the only thing I did in there. And 16 people get moved.
I don't know. I can only go off.
I understand that. And all I'm saying is I did not do that. There's a glitch in the system.
Call the IT guy. Let him know.
But I don't know who that is. I don't know if that's Zuffa or if who's running the power rankings.
Is it Fight Metric?
Yeah. I thought it was somebody different. And all I can tell you is I did not make those changes.
Okay. Well, you can change it again.
I'm going to.
Was it Sunday? Is that when you get it?
Well, it opens up as soon as the fight is over.
Okay.
It literally opens up seconds after the last fight, and then you have until sometimes it's Monday morning at 7, sometimes it's Monday at 1. And I typically do it right after the fight. With me not going, I'll do it right after the fight. When I'm at the event, I'll do all of my things. I'll do the interviews. I'll talk to the fighters. I'll go to the press conference. Then I'll go back to the hotel room or wherever I'm staying, if it's the airport, and use their internet and do it there.
Steal their internet and do your rankings?
You don't steal the internet. If the internet's free, you're not stealing it.
You're using it.
I'm using it.
There you go.
You got to be very careful in the words that you use.
Okay.
I do not steal internet.
All right.
I use the internet.
So anything stick out to you this weekend? Anything?
I'm really looking forward to that fight. I want to see how good Luke is. And I think Vitor is a good gauge. I really do. He has looked good. He's looked impressive. The loss to John Jones, I think more people believed in him after that fight than before.
That was an impressive fight. He had him, and it showed a lot about John Jones in that fight as well.
Absolutely. That he was able to survive and withstand. It's a big difference, because people have brought up the Chael fight with the toe. And I don't even use that at all because he didn't know about the toe. When you don't know you're injured, you can't really get the benefits, of the attaboys, of you fought through it. You didn't fight through it because you didn't know it.
You sure knew, though, that your arm was about to get ripped off.
You did know that.
And you, like you said, you withstood the test.
You were able to weather the storm, and I'm really curious about that. We'll talk more next week about things that are going on next weekend, in Las Vegas. The Frank Trigg appearance at Hammers. We'll be out there on Friday broadcasting live from Mark Delegati. I believe Mark will be on. I believe Ricky will be in there with us. So for the third time, we'll eventually be able to get Ricky on.
I was going to make this comment earlier. Is Albuquerque time or New Mexico time kind of like Brazilian time?
I guess so.
Where it's a little off.
This is 2 weeks in a row.
It is.
And, we can't continue to have this happen. That is for sure. So I want to thank everybody who tuned in. I want to thank everybody who's going to listen to the download and on the down low, on the download, all that kind of stuff. We've got some big things in the works. We'll have a major announcement, hopefully by next Wednesday, a new management team taking over Knockout Radio. Looking forward to that. We'll be announcing who that is. We'll have more giveaways, so we'll start kicking off the Salties giveaway for Seattle. We've got the UFC Fan Expo things to give away. We've got a ton of stuff that we're going to be giving away here in the very near future. Want to thank everybody. Want to thank Alden for the T-shirt. Want to thank the winners. Want to thank you. Good job, Sean, stepping up in the absence of Derek and Wags. Hit me up at Knockout Radio.
Sean, KO Radio.
We'll see everybody next week.